Good morning. How the baby walk. So what I wanted to talk about is probably one of the reasons why so many organisations are uncoordinated, dysfunctional, inefficient, and why so many strategies and plans are never really completed or just kind of fail from the beginning. And that's because a lot of managers don't actually develop what we call an enterprise mindset. So what is an enterprise mindset? So it's the ability to be able to see the world through the lens of the whole organization as well as your own team. So many managers just kind of feel themselves really responsible for their own area and don't necessarily take into consideration the impact of their decisions or the needs and priorities of others. And what that often means is it's a sacrifice for the long-term future of the organization in order to deliver it in the short term. So it's clearly a really important thing. So why don't so many leaders actually develop this? And you'll often see it's not just new leaders that have it. A lot of senior leaders also have it too. And you can see them being very territorial when it comes to actually, getting resources for their team and delivering results. So one of the first things is that many managers are promoted into leadership roles because they're just very good individual contributors. So being responsible for their own workload gets them recognised and gets them promoted. But there is a real mindset transition that needs to happen at that stage, and that's going to go from like a me orientation to a we orientation. And there's some really good articles that we'll give you a reference to as well. So that's quite a big transition, and it takes time. It's all of a sudden having to deliver results through others, and that takes quite a lot of shift. So that sort of focus on the self and the team comes quite naturally, but it takes a lot to actually start to look at the complexity of the organisation. Another reason behind it is just the way in which organisations are actually structured. So many organisations are actually still to this day in a functional structure. So the skills are kind of congregated together. So you'll have finance, marketing, sales, risk, whatever it is, together. And there's very good reasons for it. It creates efficiency, and it creates the ability to put all the sort of the people together with the right skills, and they can sort of work from each other as well. But what it means is that you often end up with very siloed organisations. So people only really sort of communicate across teams when it's a particular issue or a task. So as a manager to do it, you have to be very deliberate and have to go out and actually develop your own networks, because otherwise what happens is that trust and information just doesn't flow throughout an organization. And for really good collaboration and enterprise mindset thinking, you really need to spend time and develop relationships with others, so there is that trust that's there as well. So another thing is that organizations just aren't clear with their expectations of their managers. When they make the transition into management, they're not clear that you need to put this time into developing your relationships across the organization. And so things like incentives are very individual or team orientated, but not necessarily so much for the whole organization as well. So one of the things we'd always say, we do quite a lot of work with organizations when they're going through the planning process. And we're often brought in just as they're starting to go about it. So we'll often do like a scoping exercise, which is actually sort of helping them set out how they're actually going to develop their strategy. So rather than just jumping straight into it and starting developing their ideas, it's like, how are you going to go about doing it? How are you going to integrate your planning with other teams, with your peers? How are you going to make sure that you understand everyone else's priorities? And how can you make sure that you're doing everything in interlock as you're moving forward? The other thing as well, as we always say, is that you need to put time into your diary regularly to actually go out and network and to build those deep relationships, and then make sure that not all your conversations are just issue or task related. It's actually looking forward 3, 6, 9, 12 months ahead, even further, and really understanding what people's priorities and feeding into them, but also making sure that you're understanding what their issues are. And so examples of this would be a marketing team that's launching a big campaign but doesn't contact client fulfillment to say, look, we've got a big campaign, you're going to have a spike in demand. Do you have enough agents at this particular time? Do you have enough inventory? These are really simple things that happen just so often. Another thing is just making sure that they see themselves as not just the champion of their own team, but champion of the whole organisation as well, and making sure they always have that lens when they're in meetings, and making sure that they're feeding and helping, encouraging their own teams to develop an enterprise mindset as well. And when their own team are talking about negatively about another team, or moaning about it, that they're challenging them and actually encouraging them to step into the shoes of other people and understanding their world.